Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Guns.
And today we're talking about episode 5 of Prodigy. This one's called Terror Firma. The line's kind of said because Rock's like, it's trying to scare us? No, Terra Firma. So, the episode's called Terror Firma, though. So just for the record.
And this is the mid-season half break before the mid-season break before the... There you go. Because it's double duty. Today, of course, it's Prodigy review and live review. Check out both. And tomorrow will be the Discovery review and live review. And then next week will be content from both universes, both franchises. And I'm sure we'll do lives on both as well. So check out, guys, as normal. So, Stuart, what do you think of this half-season, mid-season sort of break of Prodigy Season 1, Part 1?
Lots in it. I liked it. It was a good conclusion to Part 1. It was... I don't know if I would necessarily say it's better than Part 1. It's just... It raises a few questions, answers a few questions, and overall, I called it. I knew it was going to happen with her dad and choosing the ship over her. So, Other than that, we got a lot of cool things to talk about, and yeah, I was super excited about it. So, what did you think of it, though, as a Part 2? I know that Part 2 sometimes can let down Part 1, but what do you think?
No, it was good. Not at all the same as Part 1, so it didn't feel like a Part 1, Part 2 so much, because it wasn't... Part 1 was one thing, Part 2 was another thing, and they were very much split, which is good. We needed the episode where Gwen felt like part of the team, and they mostly did a good job to format that. Not quite a smooth sailing, but it worked okay, and that's as good as you can hope for such a truncated show. And it's only 22 minutes, so that was fine. Obviously, the Bird of Prey jump in there was lovely, adds more mystery, double more mystery, and they did a phenomenal job with that. I thought the twist was excellent. Somewhat obvious, but you're so caught up on the Diviner not actually stepping on the ship. I thought that was a lovely moment. That was a really good... And the ending, obviously, we needed a big end for this half-season break. And we did get it. More questions, and quite a sad ending beat, with the dad being like, oh no, bye. Space, the final where they've gone, Although, I was left thinking, at the 3 minutes to end mark, where's the Enterprise D bridge that was promoted in the teasers? Come on, D-Bridge, how are you going to show up? Oh, you're not going to. You lied at the teasers. You lied. Terrible.
Well, I knew it wasn't for the next episode.
It was the next episode on teaser, so I thought they were going to... I was waiting, and it didn't come up, so...
The dad thing was interesting because, like I said, I have a feeling he would choose the ship over her, and that would be what snaps her into the reality of her friends want to help her. Her dad doesn't. Although her dad did seem conflicted about it. He did have, like, a questioning gaze on his face, and then he said, sorry, I have no choice, which makes me think that the protostar might be able... his goals are to do something bigger than just acquire the ship. I think the ship might have the ability to either bring his race back or get them back to whatever universe they're from. Because, again, we got a transporter effect, this one, which is a JJ effect, so it is Kelvin-esque. Not sure where it fits in the whole reality chain, but I didn't think he was going to get off the planet this episode. I thought we were going to see him get it encased by vines and then not sure whether he lives or dies, but no, he gets off. He's conflicted, and he does care about his daughter, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I thought it was actually well balanced, because he would have saved her had any other situation been the case, and you can tell that in his face. Yes, there's definitely something hugely at stake. I'm sure it's to do with the mother, the lineage. Yeah, there's some grand thing where in the grand scheme of things, losing a daughter to save a race or the big planet, it didn't come across as to get the ship. So I'm already sympathizing with him, and I think we had that vaguely from the last episode as well. But just because the inference of how he's presenting himself, he isn't a one-dimensional baddie, and I like that. And if you look at the situation objectively, he was far from the daughter as well. And if the vines are killing her as they, if he goes to her, she's dead by the time he gets there. He's achieved nothing, but the ship might be able to do X, Y, and Z. So I was like, because she was... So I was fine with the situation, and I thought he gave enough emotion to, actually... So I thought that was... Although, the vines not destroying the ship until they had to destroy the ship, until they didn't. Very, story-dependent. I'll ignore the vines for 10 minutes, then come back on. Now, the vines were just super basic, and the planets only felt like a non-entity this week. It just felt like when they needed it moment. Whereas last week had such a presence, and it was gone this week. And in fact, even the Diviner seeing his daughter felt like it could have been an illusion, because there's no reason to think both parts wouldn't be an illusion. Yeah. But I thought his decision was fine in the context. And then obviously, to catch up in 3 seconds in extremely into darkness scene. I mean, my God, Stuart, Was then just not Into Darkness blood just being Khan's blood was right in that scene, and you could not get more verbatim with the warp effect, in the sound effect slightly. There was a vom, 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 vom in the musical score that was blatantly, that was quite shocking to see. And like you said, there's lots of JJ inspiration in this, lots and lots of Kelvin, keeps being there.
And we did the video last week of, is it transwarp or warp? It sounds like it's just warp.
Which doesn't work.
Is it just take us to warp? But that could just be transwarp. That could be all this thing has, maybe. Who knows?
Possible. Possible. Although they did say we found its warp trail previously. So
yeah.
It's
but transwarp, warp, it would just be warp at that point.
Disappointing, but like you said, it was huge JJ vibes, so that feels intentional, And even the way it warped out was very Kelvin-y. Like a hint of Prime, but mostly Kelvin-y.
Janeway taking care of the ship was interesting. What would the real Captain Janeway do? She'd clean house. And we learn about the photonics ship scrubbers, which are basically like...
exocomps.
Exocomps, yeah. But we find out what they do. They do go around and clean the ship, which I think is kind of cool, actually. But it's almost like the evolution of the dot droids from Discovery.
Or devolution in a sense, because they were more advanced in Discovery Season 3, the proto ones. But yes, definitely, we've now introduced flying robots, so they use flying robots.
Which makes sense in the scheme of things. They should have kind of been there all along in a way to take care of stuff like that on the outside of the ship. But I like the addition.
But also get out of jail free card, because it felt too easy. Like, that shouldn't have stopped the vines. It should have just stopped for a second. They need to be always out there beaming.
I think that was the implication that was going on the whole time.
Maybe not what we saw later on, but I'll take that as for granted. But I like Jeremy. She was good. I mean, they again were like, well, how do we give her dialogue this episode? Well, we'll just have her be captain-y. Then it kind of pulls into question how sentient she is versus not sentient. And I just loved her saying, computer! It's like, you are the computer. Maybe holograms do that. It's just funny when the computer talks to the computer. But that does happen. It's just a funny visual.
And going back to the Janeway thing, the fact that she didn't know about the protostar, the gravimetric protostar containment unit. It's not even in her. She didn't have access to the files. She didn't even know about it. That was an odd choice. I assumed she was going to be the MacGuffin that was going to say, this is what it's for, this is what the ship was built for at some point. And there still might be a possibility if they get access to those files. That kind of surprised me a little bit. But at least we found out what it was, the gravimetric protostar containment. So, I mean, hey-ho!
Before I jump on that, though, the Janeway thing, I thought that was the best way it could have been. She's a training hologram with basic systems. She wouldn't know about the protostar engine. Why would you tell me the EMH?
Got to train people to use the new drive, right?
Yeah, the EMH Mark III didn't know about, or the 2 didn't know about the multi-vector assault mode. Why would he know about tactical systems, etc., etc.? It's not all linked together. So I thought that was great, and then explained why she's not... if there are ways to solve the problem and she doesn't tell them, it's just because she's the simplest of programs. That's a nice MacGuffin in itself of, well, they could have escaped X, Y, and Z in the first episode. Well, they didn't know. So I thought it was very well handled. And it does show she's not all-knowing. It puts into more question how she does just know they're ensigns. Well, if things are locked out, if things aren't fully realised for her, she probably is just as dumb as she looks. And that's fine, because she's a simple program, and that's good,
So what did you think about when you heard that the engine is, in fact, a protostar? A baby star that they're lugging around?
Bit literal?
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Not much of a leap there. What did you think?
I was surprised a little bit, but at the same time, it's like, all right, well, that kind of makes sense. I mean, we do get I love the effect of it just taking off. That was great. And it's instantly off their maps as well, which means it is fast. Mm-hmm. So...
And did you catch it was... And this is my favourite bit almost the entire episode, apart from the Bird of Prey stuff, was that it was literally verbatim the sound effect and the look effect of the TMP warp effect. I was like, ooh, because that is the sort of the most zoomy warp we've ever had. I was like, ooh, that's a nice touch. Good job, you guys.
No, I thought it was cool. I mean, I want to learn more about it for sure, but I do like the transformation. The ones go down.
It looked better than the trailer. It did.
Oh, much better. It looks much better than the intro transformation.
That's what I meant. Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. Although it was a bit showy, a bit transforming. Like how many things go blue, 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 like lighted on. It's like you don't need any of that. When you go to warp, you have one flash of blue. That's it. You don't need all that stuff, but whatever, but that was the only thing. Like too many glows. The transformation's great, then everything started glowing. It's like you don't need that really.
Too many glows from a star? I don't know. I think it's fine.
But that's the thing, though. We've learned it's not as complicated as we thought. It is just a warp drive unit, and it's just for more power. Like it isn't as complicated because they just.
Well, we don't know yet.
But they just went in. They just carried on at warp. Like they didn't leave the warp stream. They just went faster. So it's just a warp drive power source to give them a third nacelle warp boost. It's just a boost. I mean, does that mean it can now go up 9.999999999 for 12 seconds and that gets you far? I was quite surprised how simple it was. It wasn't a new propulsion drive. It wasn't a new whatever. It is literally the Quantum Galaxy Quest boost. In the Star Streak. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, that certainly doesn't break the bank. And it makes sense you would test, short boosting warp drive. I mean, we the cruising speed and max velocity are a reason, but if you can go 9.9, times 20, like, the little X and then times 20 for 12 seconds, well, that gets you 50 light years in 12 seconds. That's okay. I can buy that. It was simple, I thought, and simplicity often works.
I wonder where they are now, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Probably a lot closer to Starfleet, I'm guessing.
Yeah. We mentioned the Klingon ship, but before we get to that, there's one more little thing that I wanted to talk about, and that's the fact that he referred to trying to escape from a ship using an unfinished escape shuttle. So the fact that the shuttle is in fact an escape shuttle and not necessarily a shuttle was a fantastic little touch. Made sense in the context because it just launched all the escape pods, so the computer was like, what do you want? A shuttle? Okay, I'll build you an escape shuttle. Love that little reference. It was a small one. Maybe people might not have noticed it, but we love about the ships and tech, and we need to talk about the shuttle at some point. And it is just an escape shuttle, so that was a cool little touch.
Which I think we called right away, trying to work out what it could be.
We speculated it might be, yeah.
Yeah, it just makes sense, which was great. And I
said it's the size of a pod, one of the shuttle pods. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not a shuttlecraft. It's a shuttle pod. But I will admit I laughed and giggled out loud when the runaway got destroyed. You having just said, I think it's going to be super important. It's going to be in all the episodes. I was like, it's gone. I know, but it was like, Stuart, I'm sorry, man. It got killed within like 12 seconds. I'm sorry. It's a little Stuart moment there.
But now, let's get on that Klingon ship, Klingon Bird of Prey. I was shocked to see that, considering where they are. If they're in the Delta Quadrant, we speculated, well, the sleeper ship for the Tellarites makes sense. And the fact Jankum Pog also knew that it was a Klingon. He knew about the... he mentioned that, so, and the rations and things like that.
As did Gwen.
Gwen knew about the Mek'leth. She knew quite a bit about them. So how did a Bird of Prey get into the Hirogen system? I found that quite interesting and kind of an unanswered question, but I thought it was a nice touch.
Birds of Prey have existed for a long time, so it could just have travelled since Star Trek 3. It makes sense that random Klingons and random races would just go to the Delta Quadrant for lols, or to hunt themselves. And I'm assuming, they were the convoy, whatever, that went to the Delta Quadrant, and the Hirogen started hunting them. They started running. They ended up in the Hirogen sector being pincered in, and then it crashed, and then whatever. So it's a very simple story, but it was really nice to see. And being, more on the boundaries of the two quadrants does clearly give you a lot of creative freedom, because now we've already had that nice mix. And that was, I've said to you a billion times, you don't invent a new race, just use an existing one. You get fan points, and you get to do something that's sort of real and justifiable, but also it's nice for everyone. You don't need to invent a new alien race. Just have it, and it didn't change the story, whatever. It could have been any ship in any race and any whatever. But that was a lovely thing, and it showed that they can make canon-looking canon, which they haven't really done yet. So that was like, okay, good. That's a testament to what we can do and can expect later on.
Yeah, this thing's got a nice mix of Prime canon stuff. We got the JJ, a lot of the JJ heavily influenced stuff. But yeah, it's an interesting series for that. Now, when I first saw the ship, I couldn't quite make out many details because it's kind of quick. I didn't realize till they were inside that it was a Klingon ship. Then when I watched it the second time, it was obvious what it was. I was kind of almost hoping for a Hirogen ship or something when they see it. But I don't know. I thought the Klingon edition was a nice touch. You can't lose points when you use a Klingon anything. So
yeah, and I've already started doing the renders to show you how close it is, Stuart. I'm excited to hear those direct thoughts. So yeah, lots of points all around. End on a high note. It was relatively simple, and they potentially were traipsing around the forest a little bit too long, but not really.
I do like the addition of her weapon thing becoming a cast of sorts. That was cool.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of cool.
And we find it's a family heirloom. The only thing her father ever gave her, which I think might come into important later. So,
what it's going to do is it's her one special trait, as in combined. No, it was nice. It was an effective episode that while it's simpler than you think, but that it worked in complexity and little additions. No, it was nice. It was good. It was a strong way to end off that also put us back in the stars, because I would have been disappointed if we stayed on the planet too much longer. Yeah, we've literally gone into the unknown, and that's a really good place to stop. So they did obviously know this was going to be the end point early on, because that's a good place to pause. So yeah, worked well.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and look forward to our live review and discussion on it, because there's a lot of little things to break down and talk about. Plus, there'll be a lot of little breakdown videos. So if you don't want to miss those, make sure you subscribe to the channel and you click the notification bell icon to all. Please like this video. We really appreciate that. And comment down below your thoughts on the episode. And if you can, just join us later for a little while.
And of course, specifically about the Proto Engine, etc., let us know down below, because they had a few little reveals, so we'd love to hear your first reactions and join us for those lives. Like you said, we'll do joint lives for Discovery and Prodigy all throughout the week until we continue the Discovery next week. So join us in for those. And if you want to support what we do, you know what we do, guys. It's a lot. Support us via Super Chats in those lives if you can. It's direct communication. We love to hear what you think. And that support is pretty amazing too. Or donate via Patreon, PayPal, join the channel on YouTube, or buying a shirt with the links down below. All great ways to help. So thanks in advance for any. And if not, just come and join and see us for next time.
That's right. So until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Combs. Bye, guys.
See ya.